Right now on Denver 7 News, we're learning new details about the 4th of July parade shooting near Chicago, what investigators are revealing about the person of interest, and how they believe he carried out the attack.
We're seeing a lot of teacher turnover, but first-year teachers especially are harder to keep in the classroom. The new approach to try and retain them. And our country's national parks are popular summer destinations, but many are overdue for repairs. How climate change is complicating the situation.
Plus, train troubles at Denver International Airport, stranding travelers in the terminals. We're hearing from passengers who were stuck in this morning's madness. A large stretch of I-70 is closed right now in both directions between Dotsero and Glenwood Springs. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office says it's because of a flash flood warning, and there is no estimated time of reopening. You can see no drivers on the road. If you do want to drive that route, you're going to have to find another way around. Thanks so much for watching Denver 7 News at 4. I'm Jason Grenauer. We want to get right out to our chief meteorologist, Mike Nelson. Mike, dark skies out there in the metro, and we do have that flash flood warning.
There's a couple of different warnings in effect. Let me first show you the temperature contrast, because we have 100 degrees at Ray. It was 106 last hour, 53 at Leadville, and that's because of thunderstorm activity, which has become widespread across the state this afternoon. Most of them are just generic thunderstorms, but a few have become severe. So over the Denver area, scattered thunderstorm activity is moving almost due north along the I-25 corridor, but up to the north on the Cameron Peak burn scar and the East Troublesome burn scar, rain there has prompted the issuing of flash flood warnings, as well as right around the Grizzly Creek burn scar, and that is what's closed I-70. But northeast corner of the state, up near Crook, we actually have a tornado warning in effect, and this is a small landspout tornado, but they have seen it on the ground, and there is some small debris blowing around. I'll have more details on that. If you are in the vicinity of this in northeastern Logan County, seek shelter immediately. Again, the Denver area is mainly just lighter thunderstorms. No warnings currently in effect in Denver. Scattered evening storms, locally heavy rainfall, more storms coming up for Wednesday, but hot and dry as we head toward the weekend. Your full 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, Mike, thank you. Now to the latest on the investigation into the deadly mass shooting at a 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. 7 people were killed and dozens others injured. Today, chilling new details coming out about the incident, including the fact that the shooter fired 70 rounds into that crowd. Connor Powell has the latest.
A beautiful day turned into a nightmare as bullets rained down on a 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois.
You can't remember whether you're supposed to shelter or run, but your instinct is to run, and we ran.
Crowded streets emptying as people rushed to take cover, leaving behind American flags, strollers, and scattered lawn chairs.
I ran to my grandma's house, which was just around the block, and we were stuck there for hours.
As the chaos ensued in the northern Chicago suburb, stories of heroism are emerging, like Dr. Lauren Schechter, who ran back towards the parade to help anyone who was hurt.
We got to safety, and I just said, I'm turning around, and we'll go back and do what we can do. There were several older people who had fallen, who had some scrapes and bruises. They were okay. Tried to comfort and relax and get them to relax a bit till the ambulance could get here.
The man police believe is behind this vicious attack is 21-year-old Robert Cremo, a Highwood, Illinois resident. Officials say it appears he legally bought the high-powered rifle used in this attack and planned this for several weeks. Chilling new details also emerging about the lengths he went to carry out this massacre.
During the attack, Cremo was dressed in women's clothing, and investigators do believe he did this to conceal his facial tattoos and his identity.
In Highland Park, Illinois, I'm Connor Powell reporting.
It was a scary afternoon along East Colfax in Aurora. Police shot a man at a motel where firefighters had just put out a fire. Now, our cameras captured the shooting at the Ranger Motel on East Colfax. We've decided to pause the video before shots are fired, and we are blurring the man's face until he's been identified. In the video, you can see the man peeking out of the motel door several times. Minutes later, he starts running towards police with what appears to be 2 long objects in his hands. That's when police opened fire. Aurora Fire first reported the fire at the motel around 11 a.m. An hour later, it had turned into that barricade situation. The critical response team is handling that investigation. A quadruple shooting in Denver is now being investigated as a homicide. Police say one of the victims, a man, died at the scene. The shooting happened last night in the South Platte neighborhood. Initially, police thought 3 people were shot, but a 4th victim later showed up at the hospital. Police have not said what led to that shooting. Firefighters across the metro were busy this 4th of July, putting out multiple fires that they believe were started by fireworks. Probably the biggest fire was the brush fire near South Himalaya Way in unincorporated Arapahoe County. South Metro Fire says it was about 3 to 5 acres and threatened multiple homes, forcing evacuations. Homeowners were let back in later in the evening. Thankfully, no homes were damaged. West Metro Fire says they fought about 17 fireworks-related fires in total. That includes several grass fires, car fires, even dumpster fires. Fire officials hope this can serve as a lesson about the dangers of fireworks, especially in such dry conditions.
At times our fire trucks were driving through fountains and fireworks that people had set off in the street that were still going off. So there was pretty much just a disregard as far as fireworks laws went and as far as just generally the safety of everybody went.
So if you have any left over from the weekend, basically don't shoot them off. Coming up on Denver 7 News at 5, we'll hear from some of those homeowners who had to evacuate and their concerns about fireworks in the future. It was a morning of frustration and confusion out at DIA for passengers stranded, waiting for trains to the terminals or stuck in the terminals themselves. The trains to the concourses stopped working for roughly 30 to 40 minutes. Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is live out at DIA. And Russell, what did some of the passengers have to say?
Yeah, Jason, some of the passengers weren't even sure they would make their flights. The trains eventually started moving again, but not before creating a whole lot of chaos out here at DIA. It made for quite the scene. In fact, we have some video to show you. Passengers right away started sharing videos on social media from aboard trains that weren't moving. Others posted photos from the train platform in the main terminal, which was packed with passengers shoulder to shoulder who couldn't get on a train. The problem here at DIA is that there's only one way for passengers to get to concourses B and C, and that is on the train.
Luckily, I had set aside enough time because I'm a very anxious person, but I was set back about 45 minutes. If I would have left later, it would have been a different story and I would have been panicked.
So this is a problem the city of Denver and DIA have been discussing for months, even dating back years. Alternative forms of transportation to concourses B and C. They already have a walkway to concourse A, and that is something they're really starting to discuss for the future. Maybe a walkway to concourse B and another to concourse C, or a walkable underground tunnel. We'll have more on that coming up on Denver 7 at 5. For now, we're live at DIA. Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Today, President Biden awarded the Medal of Honor to 4 Vietnam War veterans, the highest decoration for service members. He told the story of one soldier who put caring for his crewmates before himself while wounded.
Rather than risk the lives of his crewmates, Specialist Fuji waved off the helicopter, told them to depart, remaining behind as the only American on the battlefield.
All 4 recipients have previously received other awards for their heroism during the war. Biden has now awarded the Medal of Honor to 8 service members since taking office. All right, topping the news feed, even as gas prices remain high, more than 5 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Reserve were shipped overseas last month to Europe and Asia. That's what sources tell Reuters. Now, this comes as President Biden continues to call on gas suppliers to cut their prices. Finland and Sweden are one step closer to official NATO membership. NATO's ambassadors signed off today to move the process forward. It's unclear how long ratification will take, but NATO's Secretary General says it could be a matter of months. In recent history, both countries have adopted a neutral stance towards Russia. As WNBA star Brittany Griner's trial continues in Russia, she just wrote a letter to President Biden pleading with him to use his powers to ensure her return. I miss my family. I miss my teammates. I am grateful for whatever you can do at this moment to get me home, Griner wrote. She was arrested in February for possessing cannabis oil. Well, at least 10 children have died in hot cars so far this year. 4 of those deaths happened over the last few days. A number of car makers have now added rear seat reminder alerts in their cars to help prevent this. The entire auto industry has a voluntary agreement to have these alerts in all cars by 2025. It detects when a back door has been opened. When you park, it will alert you to check your back seat, but there are some concerns this technology may not be working as intended.
I don't know about you, but when my car beeps at me, I don't know what it's saying. I don't speak beep, So there's a lot of confusion with these systems. People think that these systems are able to detect their children, but in fact, they really can't tell the difference between a bag of Cheetos or a child in the back seat.
Addressing hot car deaths is included in the new infrastructure law. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration will be setting a safety standard within the next 2 years for car makers to follow. Now, the nonprofit Kids and Car Safety is pushing for occupant detection technology, which you can see here in this video they gave us. A few car makers are already installing or working on this.
They detect micro movements. So a good example of what a micro movement is, it's like your heart beating or, the blood flowing through your body or your lungs filling with air. They can detect those tiny little movements inside of our body, and they can actually tell the difference between a child and an adult and even a pet.
You could then get an alert through your phone. Until you have technology like this in your car, it can be helpful to have a physical visual reminder on the front seat that your child is in fact in the car. We've seen a lot of teachers leaving the profession during the pandemic. Holding on to first-year teachers can be especially tough. The new way some districts are trying to keep them in their jobs.
Plus, Rocky Mountain National Park is looking to make it easier for guests to enter the park. Hear about the proposal for a new Fast Pass system next.